Ahoy mateys, and welcome to volume 77 of the One Piece Virgin Eggheads Book Club podcast, covering chapters 764 to 775 of One Piece. I am the captain of the measly crew, Mumkey D. Jones, joined as always by your vice captain, Eggy V. Rodriguez!
Didn't we do 77 last week?
Wait, I thought we were supposed to do 77.
Yeah, we're doing 77, Eggy. What'd you read, 78?
Oops.
You skipped an entire volume?
Actually, yeah.
Well,
fuck.
This show's canceled.
What is up, my measly crew, and welcome back to the One Piece Virgin Egghead Book Club podcast. I am not your captain, but you know what? Sometimes the captain's got to let his voice rest for a second. I am your co-captain, the vice president, who is not planning a mutiny to usurp his position. But I am Eggy G. Rodriguez. I'm standing big on the G today for a certain player. You know, maybe the original G. We'll get into that. But when I think about the original G, I'm thinking about G. Rich McCoy in the house. What's up, G. Rich?
That's right, I've got the will of G.
It looks like a pretty good will. I thought it might be the will of T because it seems to give you the same effects as shooting testosterone into your body as an old man. But there's someone who is the youngest among us, but the biggest in charge. It is my most beloved and respected captain, Simeon Jimmy.
I'm worried that when I was doing my crazy dancing and stuff, I might have been making some sound effects and didn't realize it, so shout out if anybody heard those.
And you know what? I'll tell you what sound. It's an ultrasound being applied to the world. You might even call it a spider web. Well,
Eggy, did you say which volume and chapters we're reviewing today? That was sort of the point of having you do the intro.
Pretty important to establish that.
There's like this great comedic irony to it.
Yes. I mean, yeah, who would get those wrong? Folks, that's right. Today we are on ding, 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 volume 77, the angel numbers, and I'm feeling high in the sky, just like a 10-ton man. We are here through chapter
Not
7.
6-7.
Shut the fuck up. Why did we invite Erich back on?
Motherfuckers.
Chapter 764, just like the internet cult that we all know and hate, through chapter 775. That's a big old pile of delectable, nutritious for the mind, body, and soul material.
Okay, before we get into top of minds, I just want to say, we're going to play a bit of a meta game here, because everybody at home, you know the little funny snafu we had. It's no big deal. Just Eggy's a week ahead spoiled. So I'll say this. We do have at least 4 people who are genuine virgins reading this show along with us. So I think, despite the fact that I often spoil future events, like Shamrock and Gunko land on a giant branch, let's just say for today only, if Eggy accidentally spoils anything that happens in volume 78 that he read, I guess, earlier this morning, I don't know, we cut off 1 finger per mistake. Erich, what do you think?
Yeah, I think you get a max 10 mistakes, and then we start moving on to the
toes?
Your balance is going to go out real quick.
And if you make 21 mistakes, you know what we're cutting off then?
Well, somebody beat you to the punch. It is what it is. Shout out to the doctors.
Wait, are you missing something?
Oh.
That's for me to know, and for the people who pay for the real extra content, a little bit of charge. You got to contact personally for that one.
Eggy had so much foreskin and made up a whole penis of its own.
Holy shit.
All I'm saying is if I make 1, I got to make 5 because I need to get a full replacement on the taxpayer dime in any case. But at least what I know is that volume 77 was really a very emotionally driving volume, and so I don't have anything possibly spoilerific in my midst as far as the top of mind goes. But since I know how I'm feeling, and I mostly did the intro without significant issues, G. Rich, please give us your top of mind, my brother.
So we get some nice Trafalgar Law backstory chapters in the beginning here. I think I'm going to go against the fandom here and say that I'm not the biggest fan of Trafalgar Law. He's all right, but it kind of blows my mind that he's like always the number 1 or number 2 most popular character.
Yeah, I was gonna have you guess.
Spoilery to me. I mean, I've seen him do a lot of great things here in this volume, and he's got the backstory's pretty up there. But you're saying you feel like he's gonna consistently always be the top dog or up there in the mix?
I mean, at least within this this era of the manga, he's always pretty high up there, and I think he's maintained a lot of that prestige. Monkey, is that true?
Well, I was going to bring up in the previous volume, they actually had a character popularity poll, and Law was at number 2. He usurped Zoro, which is insane.
That's crazy.
Are you asking me my opinion on if Law stays this
what
popular?
do you think about Law and his overall popularity within the One Piece canon?
I can't spoil how much longer he stays relevant in the story. You know, like if he dies in Dressrosa, there's no Law for 400 chapters. You know, of course he's not going to be as popular.
Sorry to set that up, but I mean, definitely the numbers don't lie. Japanese children loved him in volume 76. And, you know, he's got a very strong backstory here in these first few chapters of Volume 77, and very, you know, tight to everything else that's going on in the modern day besides the flashback as well. But I'll leave it at that I won't interject too much.
While we're on the subject of Law, is there any actual drama in his arm being cut off? In Punk Hazard, his whole thing was, I'll just reattach people's body parts. Or like give you a new body. So cutting off his arm, are we expecting this to last, Eggy?
I didn't take it that way. No, I felt like because
you could probably put that bad boy back on.
I would take it back to Sabaody. Remember when they have the Navy encroaching, and they're straight up just like slicing and dicing these dudes into ground beef chunks, and they're like quarter of their skulls over here, like they got half an arm over here, and they're just like all mushed up in this pile, but they're still conscious and talking and everything like that. So I think at the least, I think it's gonna all turn out okay for him here. Yeah, I would imagine.
Anything else about Law? Because I'm sure we'll go through all the flashback stuff in detail, Erich. I guess we could do that now if you wanna. If there's anything.
Yeah, that's
from
fine.
it in particular.
We can go right into it. Yeah.
I think if you don't like Law, you have to at least like Rocinante, also known as Corazon. How do you feel about him, Erich?
He's fun. I like him as a character.
At last,
he's a nice contrast to Doflamingo.
Last episode, I almost spoiled my biggest laugh. One of my biggest laughs in One Piece, but I caught myself. But in this volume, all the secrets are being exposed, and Law says, "Oh, so you're faking being mute? Are you faking being a big klutz?" And he's like, "Yeah, it's all a part of the act." While he's lighting himself on fire again. That killed me. I fucking busted a gut.
I like when he blows up that huge facility and then fucking farts.
And it's all silent. That does play better in the anime.
I gotta say this, when we got introduced to Corazon in the last volume here, and I'm like, okay, he's giving me a little bit of real, true Joker, Harley Quinn vibes with the face makeup, face paint, and like his heart outfit. I didn't even know at the time. I believe it's addressed, perhaps, in one of the SBS here in this volume, if I'm not mistaken, which it could be. That Corazon is, in fact, translates to heart. So I thought maybe he was just trying to be cute, as many lighters and other inanimate objects have throughout human history, but it is just actually really part of his persona. But all these things that, as you mentioned here, like these quirky things that we see him do, and now that we know that he's able to speak and we get some of his personality coming through, they're what I would, perhaps generalize as true Joker-pilled traits, maybe a little Jester-pilled, and that really did endear me to him further. And I already kind of hated Doflamingo, so like, if you're maybe going against the grain a little bit, not as difficult to get me to switch over to you. But I like the cut of his jib, certainly.
he brings up the question of nature versus nurture, where him and Doflamingo have the same upbringing. They're both celestial dragons who then went down to the human world and were lynched and tortured, and but they have the exact opposite. Personality, disposition. Really, Corazon is dedicating his life to being an undercover spy on his own brother to make sure he doesn't fulfill his plan of destroying the world. And what did you think of this secret revelation that he's in contact with Sengoku, of all people, Eggy?
I mean, it was shocking, to be honest. Like, it just... Because out of anybody, I mean, you know, Sengoku, to me, I feel like even after the Paramount War, like, you know, we saw his big Buddha power and everything he had going on. But there's just something, if we're taking, like, Navy admirals, you know, we got Kizaru, he's just has this quirky kind of, like, almost Japanese movie star kind of quality to him. You got Aokiji, he's kind of, you know, a little more serious. Akainu, he's got sort of this overbearingness. And Sengoku always kind of had, like, a bit of, like, a bureaucratic feel to him for me. Comparatively to the other admirals. So it's just kind of interesting to see him be placed in this position where he's in contact with, you know, with Corazon, and that he's kind of the one out of any possible option who's kind of tied in here with this whole thing. I thought that was an interesting choice, but maybe it's the most sensible. Maybe you want somebody who's a little more like that. Not even that saying that he is, but my feeling for him was always that way. So maybe he's a better pairing here to be linked in like that. So, but it surprised me for sure.
Do you think there's a chance that Law has continued this and he is in contact with Sengoku to report on various things, and maybe that's how he got the position of Warlord of the Sea to begin with?
I could certainly see that being a possibility because, you know, after the restructuring that took place, forgive me, but was it that Sengoku, did he retire? I forget exactly, or if he had stepped away.
Yeah, sometime after the Paramount War he did, but he's still like an advisor, sort of, but
yeah, he's like an inspector general or something.
Yeah.
So that's almost like one of these positions where, you know, like I was watching, I'm getting towards finishing Sopranos, and I don't want to spoil too much of that, but I'm on the last season. There's the whole thing about like keeping somebody employed by a company in like a very absentee role for their own benefit.
Like an old man who'd kill himself if he lost this.
Right. But so to say, like, maybe Sengoku, he could have maybe stepped a little bit out of the limelight. Maybe he's, on paper, his position has decreased, but at the same time, you could certainly still have some pull and maybe be having that communication. So I could see it being that way if there is anything still remaining there. But with his position as a warlord as he had been in, I think that would maybe make that more likely. But yeah, I could see it.
I've always been somewhat confused about the chain of command, or the like what everyone's role within the Marines tends to be. And then that also extends to the pirates, and like who's on top of the pirates and who's warlord, and how they like assume that kind of rank. And Sengoku not having an official like standing, even though he's like still pulling some strings, is interesting.
Yeah, I think it's interesting that he even represents the Buddha with his devil fruit, but is still like the head honcho of an oppressive government that works for like the most evil people in his, like, on Earth, you know? But back to the nature versus nurture idea, celestial dragons, people would like, I assume, to see these motherfuckers crucified by the end of One Piece.
Worse.
Yeah, but
we can do worse to them.
But we see Doflamingo's dad and brother being of that line, being born there, and they're good-natured, good-hearted people who want to do the right thing. So will there be some sort of gray area? Like, will all the celestial dragons be punished or forgiven? Is Luffy going to be in charge of this at the end game? Yeah, lots of interesting questions for me.
Like, how bad can their excision from power be to the point where they can never get power again? They can never get any kind of wealth or prosperity again? Like, can you just force them into the dirt and make them groveling maggots?
Well, there's a question of, are these people even culpable? Because we get here in chapter 674, Corazon says, as a child in Mary Joa, we were taught, if you don't behave, you'll be gobbled up by a D. So these people are being brainwashed from birth into thinking you are superior, and all the commoners down below, they're gonna hurt you. They're all these things. If you're brainwashed from birth, can we punish and kill you for that?
You should be judged by your actions regardless. I mean, I think even if you're raised to think you have to keep people somewhat under your boot, lest they rise up and the worse you kind of treat people, the worse you actually are. Even if you're raised within that, you should have some amount of regard for your fellow man to tell that what you're doing is hurting so many people. And there's so many people who just go and die of starvation in this entire show, that that basic thing that people can't even get sustenance enough to live, and a lot of it is due to the actions of the people on top. So it's you're allowing that to happen. So even if you were raised within it's okay, you can do whatever you want, you have to have that amount of regard for your fellow man.
To speak from the D side, I mean, listen, if this is if we have to really restructure their whole culture in order for us D tier people to get some respect and not just be walked around on leashes like dogs, maybe it's it has some parallels to the modern day. Maybe you just got to do a little Vlad the Impaler type moment and just really make a couple examples of people. It helped get rid of witchcraft for a few centuries in America with the pyres and everything like that. I'm not saying it's right necessarily, but the celestial dragons, I feel like those who are willing to have a sit-down conversation might be not the majority. You might need to maybe will a little bit of influence perhaps into their sector. Give yourself a little bit more standing maybe to get on their level. And maybe it doesn't have to be violence. Maybe you could just be yourself and really do something incredible. But I kind of feel like they're these people that are very by blood, that's really where they place themselves as far as their standing among people besides what they're achieving. So maybe, I'm not saying you should hang them up and crucify them and torture them like the villagers did, but I'm not saying that they're always in the wrong to do that either. It's a tough thing. That's why I'm not a political advisor. By the way, I'm running for president in 2028. Make sure to vote Eggy. But maybe a little violence here or there just to tip the scales is maybe sometimes not the worst idea.
Are there any nations or peoples that would consider us as straight white men in America to be the celestial dragons of this world legitimately? And if one of these nations potentially rose to incredible power through magical fruits, would they be justified in slaughtering us, Erich? Is there a people that have the same animosity towards us?
We're not celestial dragons. We're in the nation that the celestial dragons mostly come from. And
but so Mary Joa, you have to imagine every single celestial dragon who lives there is not culpable for the horrors of the world, and maybe they don't all have slaves that they ride on the back of. That might be us living in America.
Oh, well, in that case, then yes, totally.
So would we deserve to be
I didn't realize
crucified?
that all of those people were celestial dragons. I thought the celestial dragons were a set group.
Oh, if you live up on
class.
If you live up on the red line, you're a CD, brother.
Okay, all right.
Or a slave.
Well, then kill them all.
Including us?
Yeah, including us.
Just because we have a leader who's maybe he likes to invade other countries and take them over and fuck up their kingdom or what, very One Piece style is what Trump's been doing lately. We deserve to die because of him?
Yeah, some crimes can never be forgiven.
Eggy, can you add some logic and reason to this podcast? I don't like what I'm hearing.
Well, obviously, There's a guy I like to quote. He's still on Twitter, by the way. This is from many years ago. He goes by like Harupex Bab or Feast Bab. And he had a quote that's always resonated with me. He said, you should let yourself be known for how you feel and make enough of an impact to have yourself be unique and distinguishable. Otherwise, you in the history books, you're going to be recorded as just like a blob of the masses. You're going to be like somebody who went bankrupt from eating too much DoorDash, or somebody that was just fading into a very generalized context. So that's how I've lived my life. I wasn't doing that based off of what he said, but even if it's something that might get me unemployed, or I can no longer use banks, and maybe there's people looking through my windows at night pointing lasers at my skull while I sleep, whatever it might be, I just like to stand tall. And so when we see somebody like, maybe if there was some kind of human Cheeto that was buying the country of, let's just say, like a land that's green,
orange
using
land,
all of our tax money and taking it from us instead of enriching ourselves. Maybe if I went on to some kind of live broadcast and, endorsed doing something that might maybe really resist that sort of action, despite the fact that black SUVs and people kicking down my door would then be the following thing that would happen to me as just a free-thinking, objective person living in society. At least the world would know that when whatever revolutions or anything that might happen in the future, they'll say, hey, you know what? Eggy, he told it like it is.
He was one of the good ones. You're hoping that when the pirates invade, they'll say Eggy was one of the good ones.
Or so I hope. But just an idea. That's my input there.
Some of these celestial dragons need to hop on Snail live stream and say, you know what? I don't think they should have killed Ace. They went too far.
You get thrown to the wolves. Maybe you gotta,
I hope a Kainu gets shot in the ear.
Listen, all I'm gonna say is I made that Giga Chad edit of a man named Thomas Crooks and posted it online. So my cards are on the table. It is what it is.
Well, Eggy, I think our format, we might have dissolved the concept of a top of mind today. So let's go to the next segment, which is your special drink of the week.
That's right. Well, if you don't mind, my top of mind is very short and succinct, and I do feel like
okay, yeah, we can still do it if you want, sure.
Well, just one thing, because I feel like a sort of stoicism and determination from two different parts of this volume. The first that we come into is Bellamy under the control of the string fruit to fight Luffy, and he says, you know what, I made this choice to follow Doflamingo. That's the choice that I made, and if serving him is what's going to kill me, then it is what it is. I'm making peace with that. I'll just be his puppet being thrown at you because this is the choice that I made. And also I have to say, I guess now retroactively, the Bellamy Pirates symbol that we were introduced to in Mocktown, that was actually the Doflamingo symbol then, right? If I'm not mistaken. So...
And there's that.
Yeah, I was describing this to him this whole time and had no idea until, I kind of did now, but.
Well, in a similar way, we get sort of the revelation that Law is the Heart Pirates, and he has Corazon on the back of his jacket this whole time, and now we understand why. And his devil fruit just looks like a fucking heart, which is a little on the nose.
True.
Have you noticed that I have that fruit in my living room, Eggy?
I don't think that I have. I think this was the first instance of seeing the actual fruit is in this volume.
Yeah, I have a
Are
model
you going
version
to
of it.
sneak into Mumkey's home and steal that heart devil?
Well, if he doesn't have the calm fruit, I think I'm going to hear Eggy fucking barging into my home.
Well, if he burns the shit out of your house but then dies in the process, maybe...
Yeah, did you understand... I assume you did, but the concept of he creates a distraction of like an explosion that they can't hear, so everybody's just extremely confused. Like, what the fuck? How is this even happening? Mm-hmm. I love that scene when he is.
It's a great concept. It doesn't quite work in a manga format when like you can't see the lack of sound. Like it's such an odd like thing. It's a great idea. Like
it works
Oda
very well
that, like,
in the anime.
really cool.
Yeah.
All anime listeners reached for their TV remote. Like, what the hell was that? Where's the sound?
Volume 100. What's happening?
But
Did the sound guys give up this episode? What the fuck?
What is this, wasted hours?
The pairing that came and brought this together for me as kind of my top of mind was then in 775. We get the Senor Pink backstory.
Oh my god.
Man who, he made his money by indescribable means that nobody could understand. I know how that is. Through gambling scams and checking accounts being opened and retrieving the bonuses and then never using the accounts. And hypothetically, I don't think that's criminal. Anyway, to me, having a beautiful woman and a child and really just making it work. And
he barely even had a child. Like, wasn't it only alive for like a week or two or something?
I know, but I mean, I'm guessing you got the 9 months of conception and everything like that. Some people say it doesn't matter, but me and Donald Trump
9 months of conception.
That's the way Eggy does it.
Damn.
I mean, I'm more shocked that Erich is arguing, "Oh, your baby died. Who cares? You only knew him 2 weeks."
I mean,
I think it's I think it's more the wife and like trying to reestablish a connection with the wife, right?
That's a horrible loss for this couple. Your baby died and your husband lied about where he was.
I think he would not be in the situation he's in with like using the bonnet and all that stuff, like if his wife was not in a fucking coma and could not respond to anything, and that was the only thing that really gave her any kind of reaction.
Eggy, what is the point we're getting to here? Because I don't know if I agree with Erich's cynical take on Mr. Pink here, Senor Pink.
This is a man. I think I really felt by the time it was said and done, I felt like Senor Pink might be the literal me, and I'm gonna tell you why. So he goes through this loss. Not to say that I've ever suffered anything so great, but my life has not been particularly full of wins either. So it is what it is. So it drove him. I could say that it drove him mad. There's a point to what he's done, but he probably would come off as crazy to most people with the fact of him, adorning the bonnet and everything like that. But we get that. We also get him in combat with Frankie, and he is ready to do whatever it takes. He's going to take Frankie and basically body slam him from the top of the bird cage all the way down. And he says to Frankie, like, if this is something you can survive, I'll just immediately admit defeat. And there's just something so, I hate to say it because it could be misinterpreted here, but I felt it was very honorable. Like, you're about to give 100% that you possibly can. You can't give any more than this. And if that's not enough to win, a tasteful concession, although he's in, pulverized, but
isn't that kind of a coward's method? Is like, if I can't kill you with my strongest blow, then I will admit defeat. Like, you just hit them with all you've got, and you think, oh yeah, now I'm just gonna give up.
The way that I've lived my life, for better or worse, is I was like, well, if I don't see a path forward in this so-called society for a real Joker-pilled gamer, maybe I'm gonna just figure out how to take money from online casinos and dance on webcams for hours at a time, kind of do it my own way, even if it's not a victory in some people's eyes. So to see him go through a great loss, kind of lose his mind a little bit, fight for what he believed in with the utmost ability that he could, and to kind of concede to the superior victor, kind of in the same way where maybe Mihawk and Zoro, if they were training swords together, Zoro's not going to suddenly make a power play like, oh, I'm going to try just, backstab you or something dishonorable. It's like, all right, we'll see what we're both bringing to the table. You just had the better hand of cards, you had the better play, whatever, the better tactics, and I concede that point. And so these things together, sort of like this, like I said, stoicism in a way is how it read to me. And I felt like it was emotional, kind of, it put up a little fire in me, which there was, it's a volume with a lot of things going on, so there's a lot of things to consider, but I felt like that's what I landed on for my top of mind today.
What I take away from those two is conviction to an absurdist level, because Bellamy realizes he has dedicated his life to somebody who doesn't respect or like him and that it was a mistake, but instead of changing for the better, he doubles down on something he knows is wrong. It's powerful conviction, but in support of something bad. And then Senor Pink, he's the conviction of even after he's not in his comatose wife in her life anymore. I don't remember if she died or what, but he still dons this baby outfit because it's the only thing that would make her smile, and that's like a conviction to the memory of her and the life that they should have had together. But what's your takeaway, Eggy? In Senor Pink's case, perhaps it's a good thing, but in Bellamy's case, I think it's a horrible mistake.
Well, listen, I'm a man who, I'm no mobster or anything like that, but I've made some choices before, like maybe, fighting people in New York City club establishments to my own detriment. There's times that I've I felt a certain type of way. Maybe I would have walked in and linked up and made some pledges. I had things like this when I was younger. Let's say, I was a petty thief and things like that. So there was a point when I was younger where I made, it's a blood in, blood out kind of thing. So it's like, okay, I'm pledging to go and do this heist, or I'm pledging to go and do this smash and grab or whatever. And then I'm really a pawn in the situation that's meant to enrich somebody else. But if I turn my back, it could put something, I would probably feel, I don't know, like challenging my masculinity, at least how I saw it at that time in my life. But then also, I'm turning my back on somebody who then I might have to be looking over my shoulder for a certain amount of time. And not to say that makes it right by any means. In fact, it's almost certainly foolish. But if you're willing to stand up and pledge and say, like, yes, I'm swearing my loyalty to your cause, I got your symbol on my body, I'm doing this. It's just, it's gangster type activity, and sometimes you get played the fool. But it's the idea in that culture is that you stand up and you pledge yourself, and now you as a man have given it your word, and whether that kills you or not, that's what you've given your word to. So I feel like it's maybe even less likely nowadays, or maybe just in general. I'm sure there's a lot of rolling over and cooperating a la Corazon with the federal government and stuff for a lot of people. But the concept remains, though, and so I see where he's coming from, and it's maybe has some tragedy to it, but still it resonates. It's understandable. It's something that speaks to me in this situation in the material.
I don't remember what it's from. I think it's some kind of fallacy of thought. It's not the gambler's fallacy, but it's something else where it's like you've put so much into something that you find it so hard to get out of that
Sunk
that
cost.
You kind of can't envision anything else.
Yeah.
What's that?
The sunk cost fallacy.
Sunk cost. That's it. Yep.
So, it's... I'll just say this too, me, myself, I'm a very hard-headed and stubborn person, so it's kind of like, I think maybe some of that plays into my read of it too, in like a relatable, kind of understandable way. But yeah, that's about all I have to say on those notes.
Would you like to introduce your drink before I do my top of mind?
Certainly. Bum, 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 bum. Today, folks, we have a Chopper's Cotton Candy Tonic.
Oh my god, that sounds
This
delicious.
is some Canadian gin with tonic water and a strawberry vanilla infusion. So let's see how exactly it all plays together going in for my first sip here.
Erich, do you know why the Chopper drink would be Canadian gin?
Is Chopper actually Canadian?
Yeah, that's his nationality, ethnicity. Is Canadian an ethnicity, Erich?
Ethnicity Canadian. Yeah.
Maybe. How is it,
Well,
Eggy?
Just for the record, the Canadian gin was a gift, so that's why it's Canadian.
Oh,
but it's
that
supposed
wasn't
to
actually
be-
in the recipe? That's a good coincidence, because I
No.
think he is Canadian.
Yep. No, it's just, the recipe is gin, strawberry, vanilla, and tonic water. Sweet, cheerful, and secretly grown up is the byline. Let me see if I
I
the
don't-
strawberry really plays with the gin here because it's floral, berry, fruity, sweet. The vanilla really complements. It's kind of got like this warm, comforting, almost very like hard. It's savory is not really the right word, but it's like this warm, comforting, mellow thing kind of coming alongside the sweetness. The tonic water, it's maybe kind of plays into the gin and tonics are the way to go for a reason. They kind of complement each other with I don't really know tonic water flavor, I'm not gonna lie to you. I mixed it up, I didn't taste it by itself, but it's I'm not sure I think this one's probably for me. It's a personal thing. I'm not much for gin. I think out of the 3 that we've done so far, this is probably the lowest ranked for me. It's not at all bad. Maybe I made the ratio a little bit, maybe I could have added a bit more strawberry and vanilla. I didn't want to overpower anything, so I kind of went ratio-wise. It's certainly there, and I see what it's doing, and it's fine, and it's good. But for me, like, I don't love it. But I'd give it like a good 6.5 out of 10.
So if you are ranking the Straw Hats based on their drink, was it Frankie as number 1 and then Nami and now Chopper at the bottom?
Yes, that is correct.
That might line up with my personal ranking so far. It might. Frankie's pretty cool.
It's interesting to get one that's not having any citrus elements. We had tangerine with Nami. We had the lime with Frankie. Those might be more to my palate versus like a strawberry vanilla where it's a little bit warmer and mellower overall. But
what was Frankie's? Is that like a rum and coke? What was Frankie's?
It was the Super Cola Highball. It was rum, cola, bitters with a fresh lime squeeze, and I threw the lime even in that thing, get it real nice and...
Okay, that sounds good as hell.
Okay, my top of mind is going to be something that I was pleasantly surprised by because I mostly forgot that these scenes even happened, but it's most of the fight with Lao Ji and the character arc of Qin Zhao and Don Sai and all these people who I think might secretly be related to Don Krieg. Who can say?
Oh.
If he didn't run away from home, he might have been in this arc the whole time. But something that made me laugh, again, almost as hard as when Corazon lit himself on fire for the 4th time, was, and this is like straight out of Bobobo, he probably stole this from Bobobo, is when Lao Ji's such an old man that in the middle of the fight, he dies of old age, and his spirit just flies out of his head, and somebody says, whoever saw a fight ending like this, he just reached the natural end of his life. But then he like revives and keeps fighting, but that cracked me up. He's so
I like
old.
that all of his moves are about how old he is and all of his like shoulder pain and all that stuff. Like, I don't know whether he's channeling his pain into moves or whether he's like visiting his pain onto others. It's just very funny.
And then Sai, of all the Coliseum people, he is responsible for defeating 2 of Doflamingo's captains. What do they call them? Is big, strong, commanding officers.
Family members. Yeah.
He defeats Lao Ji, and then he wins over Baby 5 with true love.
Yeah.
And he gets so strong he can bend Lao Ji's drill head again. I thought that was a Garp / Luffy level
Exclusive
attack.
thing,
Like, what the fuck? So now I'm to believe that Don Sai can break into the Antarctica ice vault and get all the treasure, Eggy?
I think so. I mean, it was really a beautiful thing. I'm going to echo your sentiment here. I believe this was the most Bobobo chapter that I've ever read, just because you have this, these cuts back and forth with Lao Ji, and it's not just the sort of humorous nature of what he's got going on, but you have the riffraff, the people like in the audience, like oh, and like they're stating the matter of fact of what's happening. A lot of cutting to eye bulging on everybody's part. It's like, oh, you said what?
With their head like in the corner, like, you know, watching it happen. Yeah, the beauty shot from Bobobo.
But I thought it was really beautiful because I don't know, maybe a strange pairing overall, but just something about it was Baby 5 is ready to, put the gun to her head. I'm getting some flashbacks of, dating e-girls and things in my past.
Yes, yes. I was gonna
this
say.
is like a happy ending, like it's sort of a, there's enough going on. It's to kind of make it all work out. And if he can get down there to bust that ice and maybe have
make some more
riches
babies
of his own, support the family with.
Baby 6.
That's right. And I also liked how his bending of Don Shinchao's horn was not at that time necessarily he gets attacked by Lao Ji shortly after, but it's like he has it's it's got a warm ending to it where he's like, oh, it's all good. I'm too old, and now it wasn't.
Yeah, there's a bit of a fake out where Chin Zhao has like tears, and you think he's pissed or sad, but they're tears of joy that he could finally retire, and he's been usurped, and that's what he wanted the whole time.
Then Lao Ji's coming in with this basically like Master Roshi pill technique where old man suddenly can like just inflate with giant muscles, but
all of his stored energy from youth he's just calling upon.
Mm-hmm. And there's also this volume where I just got the G-Rich title from, because everything to do with Lao Ji has a bold and one size larger font G in all of his words to really seal it in.
And the translator, I feel like, should have used a thesaurus, because a lot of these G's are like in the middle of words. I wonder if in the Japanese it was much funnier and better, because are there not that many G words in English you could have pulled for this dialogue here, buddy? Because you didn't really utilize the gimmick. I think bird cage, like he really emphasized the G in bird cage.
Yeah, it's more of a J sound.
Yeah.
But, exclaiming the seal of G gave me some, like, will of D kind of parallel, as I was reading that. So even though it's not similar, something of singular letter, I enjoyed the chapter all the same, and I would say it was definitely up there for me. So good top of mind.
Something I should have brought up when we were talking about Senor Pink, but what I like about dedicating a whole chapter of this to his backstory when he is seemingly just like a random character who is like a joke character, it emphasizes the theme of Dressrosa and really One Piece as a whole, which is don't judge a book by its cover, but really more specifically, everything exists within a specific context, and things haven't always been the way they are, and they might exist the way they are now because of a deep, tragic historical reason. And you show up to the land of Dressrosa, and it seems like a paradise where everybody's friends with living toys, and that it seems so amazing. And then you find out the truth that it's horrific and the saddest shit we've read so far. And you see fucking fat guy in a baby costume, and you might scoff and think, Oda, you fucking freak. You've ruined the arc. This is not funny. This is disgusting. And then he wins you over with this chapter. And now when people have a bad reaction to Senor Pink, it's like I can't even separate in my mind his backstory of, well, you just don't understand. You just got to find out the context for why the things are the way they are.
This harkens back for me. We had done a little episode recently on the Treehouse podcast reviewing something called Wasted Hours, and I said about that film how I can sometimes maybe it's a mental illness on my part, but I can kind of draw a lot from a little. So, if you had just given me a picture of Senor Pink and given me like an hour to try and fathom some kind of backstory, maybe I could have pulled something out, maybe not anywhere near what we actually get here, but I feel like I could have drawn some type of thing out of that character. And in that movie, there just wasn't anything kind of wacky enough to do that. But it is a good example of how I'm fond of that sort of concept where you can take something at face value and then really flesh it out and have it coming to that conclusion from all these different ways. It really does make me feel satisfied as a reader. And also to see that he used to be Chad. He's kind of fat now in the modern day, but old Senor Pink, I could definitely see why the baddies were interested. He's got a real Stallone thing going on for sure.
They still are. He's hard-boiled as fuck.
That's true.
Eggy, we have 2 new members of the Measly crew. Would you like to give them roles on the ship? Starting with
Natural 20, let's go.
The Best Toasty.
Okay. Well, he seems to be kind of,
full of himself.
Putting himself in position for me. The Best Toasty. Do we have really a fire master? I feel like, do we have? I don't know if we have anybody trained in a way that we might need an emergency, fire making man.
Like a fireplace if we get cold?
Like a survivalist maybe who specializes in, like with, was that Survivor where they have to make that's Survivor, right? They got to make the
fire, build a fire
quick enough and all that stuff. And why not have somebody who's, like a fire expert? I'm sure that's something that exists out there in the world. So,
what is the
wanna give him
lamest
that.
version of Ace's fruit we can come up with? Because just because there's one flame fruit doesn't mean there can't be derivative, shittier versions of it. So maybe he's like the spark man, and he can only do like a lighter.
I was gonna say that
worth.
spark. Yeah.
Yeah, you can like make a little tiny
think-
lighter to heat up a can of soup.
And just, there could be something that he could flesh out more and more. Maybe that's where he's at right now, but maybe as we go forward, he could, if he's just got spark fruit, we're thinking flint and tinder kind of sparks, but maybe he could, put his hands on somebody and give them, like, an electric jolt to get their heart started or something, too, so.
Wow,
Mr.
fire and
Toasty,
electricity.
What's that?
Fire and electricity.
Yeah. I feel, they have,
He's toasty. In a toaster, you plug it in, but it uses fire to cook my bread. You gotta have both. He ate the toaster fruit, I guess is what we're saying.
all right, toast fruit, I'm with it.
Toaster. He's not the bread, I don't. And we also have Hydra 8916.
Hydra. Okay, well, I've been reading about plants lately. When I think Hydra, I think hydrangea, which is a type of plant. I think we had a botanist already, but we might be growing to the point where maybe somebody who's maybe not necessarily just like a botanist, but maybe somebody who is knows how to cultivate and work soil, and maybe like we could have somebody who's knowledgeable about the plants, and maybe somebody who's more knowledgeable about the application of planting and harvesting. So, because that just came to my mind right now, Hydra is somebody who is a cultivation expert. Yes.
Can I add some details to his character? Because the Hydra is a beast where you cut off the head and two more grow in its place.
Yeah, sure.
So I was thinking Hydra 8916. What if the man has 8,916 penises? And every time you cut off his penis, he grows two more penises. And he uses all his penises to water the plants with his wonderful urine.
Okay, I'm seeing this here. The desalination fruit. He drinks the ocean water, and his 8,916 penises provide the most nutritious. That's like we're talking cultivation expert. This is like his special thing. This is like nutrient dense, healthy water that comes out of his 8,916 penises on plants.
And everybody on the crew is also drinking that water. We all drink from this man's penis because water is so healthy and good for you.
Damn. Don't look a gift, Hydra penis in the mouth, I've heard, so.
How pissed will the crew be when they find out where the water's coming from? Like somebody walks in one day into the water storage shed and sees this dude's cocks out in all the bottles.
There's a brand we have called Ocean's Halo that sells ocean water. So, I mean, you could probably drink a little bit of it without dying. So if you don't want to drink Hydra cock, I mean, listen, it is what it is.
They sell ocean water?
Pirates hadn't invented being gay yet, so it's all chill right now. Don't worry about it.
I thought all pirates were gay. I thought it was okay on the high seas.
Our flag means death was about that. What was that, Eggy?
I said, "Yar, matey, it's just bro stuff. What stays on the plank, what happens on the plank stays on the plank, yar."
Yeah, we love men's booty, blah, blah, blah. Typical gay pirate. Moving on, Erich. Where do we want to go next? Anything else from the law flashback we haven't covered yet? Like all the hospitals saying, "You have AIDS, get out of here, we won't treat you. Ew, no!"
Yeah, what is it? What is his sickness called?
AIDS.
Yeah, but it was like
no,
white
it's white lead disease, and
white AIDS.
The chapter title of 764, I think, was Eggy's other nickname in middle school, White Monster.
And I was treated as a leper then too, so very relatable.
Damn. Is white lead disease? Is it from exposure to lead, or what? What is the?
Yeah, his city was full of it, and the government knew that it was toxic, but it was so profitable that the government and the capitalists sold it around the world, and then everybody there got like quarantined into the city, and if they tried to escape, the government shot them to death. So basically, he predicted 2020 in America.
Yeah, it's a pretty shitty situation.
I had to hide in a pile of bodies to take my kid to the park.
Damn.
We've all been there before.
Well, what I was gonna bring up is how much I hate the fucking dwarves.
No, you hate the Tontatas. Why?
Yeah, the Tontatas. They're just annoying. They're tiny, and I hate them.
I have to say, I mean, I don't want to get too far ahead here. If we're going to go chronologically, I'd be getting
No, fuck chronologically. I need you to defend the Tontatas if you can.
Oh, well. I mean, just based on what we're seeing in this volume, the reunion of the princess and being saved by Leo.
Kino.
I have to say, you know, the refusal for the princess Mancheri or Mancheri, however you pronounce it, to heal all of Doflamingo's fallen generals to be brought together again. But then they try to torture her.
Yeah, they learned that the tears can also heal, and they just start squeezing the fuck out of him. That was my favorite part. It was when they were squeezing
when
her
they get tortured.
And it's just it's like to the split second. Then Leo comes in, and he's taking. I'm not sure if I knew. I guess he must have had his own thread. It kind of looks like the way it's displayed that he's like taking threads out of Giola's.
So he has the so-so fruit, and he can sew things together with his magic power. So he ties all the dead bodies to the remaining captains, and they get fucked. What I like about Leo and Mancheri here is, 5 volumes ago when the mission is proposed, Leo describes Mancheri as this horrible bitch that he hates, but I guess in his gullibility or naivete, or maybe he's a bit of an incel, but he is a huge asshole to Mancheri and misinterprets everything she does as being rude to him, and she's clearly madly in love with him, but he's so childlike.
Tell him, like, can't you see that she only does that to you, so that means that she likes you?
Well, he saves her and immediately asks her if she gained weight, and then she punches him, and she's like, the princess is attacking again. Like, no, you just fucking called her fat. And then she wants Leo to carry her in his arms, and he interprets it as the princess's horrible selfishness.
Well, listen, now I'm just gonna speak up for Leo right here in this regard. It's I'm a middle-aged man now. It's different now, but I certainly was Leo pilled in my younger years, teenage years, maybe, or like early college. I had a couple of these instances where a girl was like being mean to me, but it could have been like flirting, and I was just like, oh my god, you bitch, like what the oh my god. I would get like so like literally mad and angry, like, oh my god, like, no, but you want me to give you some of my sandwich? This is my sandwich, and I paid for it, and I'm hungry. Why do you want my sandwich? Dog, this is so, oh my god, I'm so mad. And I would just like get up and walk away.
But am I wrong to think Mancheri's not actually doing any like teasing, bullying? She's genuinely being kind, and he is misinterpreting it as impossibly as, like that's where the humor, it's like if Helga was nice to Arnold,
Yeah, I think you're striking it right on the
yeah, it's a relationship comedy dynamic I can't recall seeing before, where the girl is just pleasant and in love, and the guy thinks she's a bitch. That didn't save the Tontatas for you, Erich.
Nope, not a fan.
Do you agree with the? What is the word that keeps coming up, Eggy? How we're paying them back over generations here?
Residual paying back
reparations.
So reparations.
Reparations.
So the Tontatas were slaves 800 years ago, and then they made a deal with the Riku Kingdom. As reparations for your slavery, you guys can go into the city and steal from the citizens whenever you want, whatever you want, and we'll just live with it. What do you think of that as reparations for slavery, that these creatures can just go steal from all of us?
Are you saying that that's how it should work?
No, I'm asking your opinion, because that's how it's set up in Dressrosa.
They should probably set up a better system so that the citizens are not being stolen from, and the Tontata don't have to be forced to steal from others in order to get what they need.
That's right.
I think they have it pretty good on green, but I don't know why they need to steal so much. Like, we gave them their own
Why
neighborhood.
why are all their bikes always gone?
Yeah, you need. I mean, I
They
don't want
can't
to.
even ride them.
I was gonna make a reference to the Bike Thief YouTube channel we talked about, but that was in a different podcast.
All I'm saying is that the Tontatas start sitting on seats and they're taking them away from some, attention-paying citizens. They might need to be careful they're not getting blown up, just like how the factory got blown up in the Law flashback. But thinking again to while we're talking about the Tontatas and the bravery shown by Leo, the rescue of Princess Manchuri, kind of part of my top of mind that I didn't touch on because I was really focused on just those two guys, but there was a conversation here, or really a statement rather, by Frankie that comes right after the Tontata rescue, where the Tontatas are seeing Frankie just repeatedly take the same attack and not even trying to dodge it. It says, when you're offered drinks at a bar, a man does not take his glass off the table. So I ain't gonna bother with dodging his attacks. I'll take everything he's got and still win. That's what my strong style means. So I probably could have included that in the stoic element, but there's sort of an air of stoicism throughout a few different parts of this volume. And you look at that and say, wow, you absolute idiot. Why are you sitting here just taking damage you don't have to take? If you could dodge, why not dodge? But, sometimes it's the strong style, maybe it's the stubborn style, but a man just wants to be able to prove himself of what he's capable of, even if it seems stupid to other people. So
I guess it is almost, he has a respect and admiration for his opponent here, and considering he's fighting to free a factory full of slaves, maybe he should be more strategic rather than stoic and stubborn.
And kind of putting his own ego perhaps in willing to risk the lives of everybody for that. But that's just how strong he is. He's not afraid, baby. He's gonna risk all the slaves' lives to show that he's strong.
Yeah, and to be completely fucking honest, Senor Pink's got to be at like 10% health at this point anyway. So even if Frankie is defeated, we have seen the Tontatas have superhuman strength, and their tails can make your entire body get stuck in the ground. So if 10% health Senor Pink is enough to stop the 80 freed Tontata slaves, then fuck it. Like, they deserve to be enslaved if they can't stop them. Frankie more or less did his job.
And, I think still, even in that scenario, then Leo kind of incapacitating the other soldiers from coming back, that probably really helped a lot to keep to where the slack could still be picked up by who's around. But
how was Giola giving a fight to Nami and Brooke and who the fuck else is on the ship in that? Sanji or
Chopper?
Chopper. But here, Leo could defeat like all 10 of these people by tying them together at the same time. Where was her magic? Why didn't she use her art magic to fuck Leo over? It was just too quick?
I think so, yeah. She was just so preoccupied with trying to get these healing drops sprayed on everybody that she was really just having her attention elsewhere. So how I read it anyway.
Are you guys ready to talk about Hakuba?
Yes, indeed.
Because we were wondering, what is the Chekhov's gun with Hakuba? How is this going to be brought up into the story again? And I think it's a Chekhov's gun for a Chekhov's gun, because we get this interesting battle for control between Cabbage and Hakuba for the body. And at one point, it's a split, and it's like half human, half demon controlling the same body, and he can utilize the demon's speed to save Robin while still controlling, maintaining control. And I wonder if this is not setting up a special future thing for Cavendish, but just this concept in general for a future character who maybe has a second personality inside them, and maybe we'll see another fight for control in another half and half situation with a completely different character one day.
Well, I was quite intrigued how this played out, because the way that I was reading into it in previous volumes was that he had to be like fully asleep. Hakuba takes over, and then he wakes up and is like, oh, I wonder what that happened. Like,
a character who, when he falls asleep, has a different personality take over and fighting for control. Just things to keep in mind, but continue, Eggy.
Well then, yeah, so to see the awoken Cavendish, no, you can't. Oh, yes, I'm you. No, I'm like, well, that's not how I thought it was going to be at all whatsoever. And then the whole half and half thing, and so it's like very bizarre compared to what I had thought it was going to be before. Because I mean, if he's taking over, I mean, he's literally awake. He's like, "No, get away from me, no!" And he's like, actually, no. So what exactly are we talking about with sleep here? Like, this is more of like his mind is maybe like pacified. He's like comatose in his conscious self while this thing takes over. That's not sleep exactly how I would maybe say it. That's more of like a fucking demonic possession that's like overwhelming and completely taking over and like forcing your sentient conscious mind to be like paralyzed and unusable. So not exactly how I thought it was going to be before, but I mean, the results, what are you going to, I mean, the Hakuba can handle business. So that's, if you could try and, control it, that would be good. But,
hey, it seems like he won control in this instance. Erich, any thoughts on the cabbage and Hakuba of it all?
I did not remember watching this when I watched through the anime version of this, so this was all kind of me trying to like remember what the consequence here was, but
who the hell these people are
situation. Yeah, like this was the most I was just dropped into something that I did not quite remember, so I was just like struggling as I was reading this to be like, okay, what the fuck is going on?
This volume is like 4 chapters of Law's flashback, and then it's a bunch of the less important fights getting taken care of before we have like Zoro and Luffy's fights to come. So yeah, it is a bunch of Coliseum fighters who only exists in the Dressrosa arc for the most part. So if you're Erich, you might not remember. Like, wait, why did we get 3 chapters on fucking this guy named Sai? Who the fuck is Sai?
Yeah, that would
almost like somebody could possibly like pick the wrong volume to read and just seem like, I think it's
and just see some random stuff and be like, oh, that seems to be what he's doing right now.
Yeah.
Speaking of which, let's do predictions for the future. Luffy versus Bellamy, Eggy. Who do you got?
You got.
Well, based on everything that's in this and previous volumes, I'm talking 77 and prior, we see that Doflamingo is ruthless. He shoots his own father in the head in this volume. He kills his own brother Corazon for giving Law the op fruit in this volume. He's ruthless. He is willing to go to this what was it? Panic Island, whatever.
There was an island that looked like a bird, but he didn't use the bird cage on that one. What was the deal with that? What is Oda even fucking talking about with these weird island names?
Sorry. How could I forget it was Minion Island, one of my favorites.
Yeah!
Words to say.
Banana.
Maybe the bird island would be too on the nose. Or
but,
on the beak, rather.
Like, this might have been the origin of him even using that power, because Corazon says he'd never seen it before. So he could have been inspired by the bird-shaped island, but no, it was on Minion Island. I just don't understand what the point of that was.
That is a good question. And
probably makes more sense in Japanese.
Right. So considering Doflamingo's obvious ruthlessness, the fact that we know that Bellamy had donned the Doflamingo's, the pirates symbol before, and I think it's in this volume if I'm not mistaken, that it's sort of like, hey, you're gonna represent me, and if you don't represent me correctly, it's over for you. But Doflamingo's very ruthless. Bellamy, he's under his control, and he says right here, I'm willing to just go to the death. If I had to guess, probably Luffy's not going to be killed by Bellamy and have the story end immediately after that. So,
it could become Law piece. I'd follow it if Luffy died here and Law had to take up the mantle.
Yeah, I think Luffy might be able to just like he did in movie 4. Maybe he'll be able to subdue Bellamy in some kind of contraption and be able to have him off and not being a problem. But yeah, if I was a betting man, probably Luffy's going to win that combat in some way, shape, and form.
Okay. We'll see. I'm not too confident about it.
Luffy more like lose-fee. He's going to fucking lose.
Would you believe that some people have feminist discourse about Kiro saying to Rebecca, now that I'm your father and I'm back and I'll make sure you never have to fight again, you'll never swing a sword. And they're like, oh, Oda, what? A girl can't be a strong fighter? She has to just be the damsel for her daddy to save her? And it's like, well, I think Oda literally became a father like around this time, like as he's writing Dressrosa, this is a very father-daughter centric story here. So maybe Kiros doesn't want his teenage daughter to ever have to fight in deadly warfare again, and that's perfectly fine, and it's not taking away from anybody as a gendered person. But maybe I'm what's the word, a chud? Is that what they say, Eggy?
Well, here's how I feel about it. We had Rebecca in the Coliseum, and what are they saying when she's in the Coliseum? She's not offensive. She doesn't work on the offense at all. She's literally just sidestepping and defending and trying to use the environmental hazards for her to win the fights. So I don't think those people should take that in any kind of way, because it's not like she is some grand combative fighter that is now going to have to lay down her sword. She was already basically kind of ducking and dodging and weaving and evading to begin with, so why not just be able to not have to be so defensive anymore? You can open yourself back up, be more vulnerable, embrace your life, embrace goodness and happiness.
And that begs the question for me here, if we have this set up that Kiros is fighting Steven Tyler, what was his name? Diamante. And Diamante, he can make things ripple, so he's making the literal ground ripple beneath this one-legged man's foot, and he has to hop around and keep his balance, while at the same time protecting Rebecca, and that's why it's not a fair 1v1, because this dude just keeps going after Rebecca, and Kiros has to protect her. If the entire setup of Rebecca is she's the genius ducker and weaver and dodger, shouldn't this be a non-issue? Shouldn't she utilize her expertise in dodging attacks to get the fuck out of here so her dad could fight? Why do we need Nico Robin? Like, her whole purpose in all this is to come protect Rebecca so that Kiros can keep fighting.
Well, what I could say is, I think, yeah, it doesn't necessarily make any sense. What I would say is one angle is that Kiros being able to fight, he's going to be limited because he's going to probably, it's what he's done for ever since he's been a toy soldier, has been about protecting her. So I think he's very locked into that protective mindset, and having Nico Robin be there, although it shouldn't be necessary, it's sort of like an extra level of something to take his mind off of her protection and safety. He doesn't have to be glancing over his shoulder every bit to make sure that she's dodging this or dodging that. If Nico Robin is there to kind of help assist, that can help free up his attention to be more specifically on Diamante.
Moving on, do we have any thoughts on the cover stories here, Eggy?
Yeah, I thought it was quite humorous. So, I think where we ended up last time was, we had our good friend the catfish. He said, "Where's my house?" The dogfish helped bring him back down to where it was supposed to be. The dogfish's house was like over just sitting to the side. Nothing was making a whole lot of sense. So our good friend Jim Bay, he's over here trying to figure out what's going on, and he's investigating, kind of scratching his chin, and he sees he travels over to this place where there's blessings and offerings made to the gods. And as he's there, he sees houses shooting out of the ocean and flying over the land, and he's like, what, huh? So each go ahead, tracks the trail down of the, where did that just shoot out of? I'm going to go dive down there. Sees a bunch of offerings to the gods down there at the bottom of the ocean. And a good friend who it's been too long since we've seen him, Wadatsume, the giant, acorn-headed underground giant man. Well, I guess he is in fact actually a sea god and not just, a lackey of our Fishman pirate rebels from back many volumes ago. And he's been a little confused. He's thinking to himself, oh, hey, you guys up here on top of the land, you're leaving me all this good stuff. Well, how can I help you out and pay you back? Well, let me just pick up these buildings from down at the bottom of the ocean and throw them onto the land, and maybe that's like what you'd like. Well, very much not the case. He's leaving all these cat and dog fish completely homeless. So Jimbei, it's kind of like a, the whole Fishman Island arc had some undertones of prejudice and civil rights and racism and things like that of how we interpret them. So I kind of
overtones.
Yeah, overtones. Some kind of
Those
tone.
are just themes.
It was both. I saw it over and under.
I was overstanding the overtones with my mental. That's right.
Yeah, Erich is living in the past. He doesn't overstand our mental.
So I kind of almost felt like I'm sure that's maybe not the angle that's exactly being put forth here, but just the idea of like those who are on this side, they're making a grand gesture to their god, which then is ending up with a different group of people's belongings in their possession. So almost like slightly in a way, maybe it's a little convoluted for me to come to that conclusion, but like slightly manifest destiny coded perhaps, and just maybe it could be interpreted that way. Probably just Watasumi being dumb, but you know, thoughts of, you know, back in the day when we were landed on the Mayflower and we're like, hey God, what about that? What, like, there's a bunch of stuff over there. How about that? And just, oh wait a second, I think I'm receiving it. Oh, woo, hey, thanks God. All right, anyway, that's mine now. Might be woke, but to some people, but I'm just saying maybe there's if I want to try and extract a deeper meaning here from these cover stories that did occur to me.
I think the textual reading, instead of adding some context to it, might be the question of why are the remains of human settlements at the bottom of the ocean for Wadatsumi to try to return to the surface in the first place?
A great flood. You know, the or Neptunians, or maybe fishmen. They were, before they had an island, maybe they were living over next to the base of this human encampment over here. A few different things, maybe.
I think back to like Impelled Down, the underwater prison. Like, how the fuck did they build that? Why are there so many things underwater? Yeah, maybe the Sea Kings did just drag them down there.
Could be a great disservice to a past sea god. He said, hey, you know what? He just came up and he was like Boogie 2988 at that convention where he flipped the table over. He just like flipped the whole island over. All the buildings went down. He's like, yeah, what do you think about that, bitch? And then went back to being sea god.
Yeah, really, Erich, this cover story it's the story of Wadatsume. He thinks he's doing something helpful and kind, but it's actually causing stress and dismay to other people. It reminds me of the story of a film called The Tigger Movie.
Yes, some unintended consequences befall.
Yeah, I have this thing where
too much action.
No matter what the subject is, I'll find a way to compare it to One Piece.
To the Tigger movie.
So yeah, what if from now on I compare everything to the Tigger movie?
7 degrees of Tigger, that's what I want to hear. Let's keep on bringing it back. I'm with it.
7 words that rhyme with Tigger. If I put the Tigger movie on the next PCP poll and it wins, you're gonna watch it, right, Erich?
I guess I have to. I mean,
That's the nice thing about fatigue is that it dissipates after a while, right?
I'll rewatch it and I will like note every single time that Tigger pisses me off in any way.
It'll be 0 because he's just fine.
Reiterate.
He's a good friend to Rue. And the rest of them are not good friends to him. Lying about his lost family, it's disgusting. Anything else from this volume that you guys want to dive into while we're here? I think I've covered everything I found interesting.
Yeah, I think I probably feel kind of the same. You know, we talked about the contrast, the nature versus nurture between the Doflamingo brothers. We talked about the combat between the combatants. The Hakuba appearance.
Hadrudin, the giant punches a 10,000-ton man up into the air and into the birdcage. And like his tooth shatters in the process because it takes so much effort. That was pretty cool. That was my only note for that entire chapter, so it must have been just boring action the whole time. Did you guys read the SBS questions? In volume, chapter 765, an 8-year-old boy wants Oda to make his mom and sister's tits bigger.
Yeah, boobs bigger. And his dick bigger? Or is that something Oda just suggests?
No, the 8-year-old wanted his own penis to also be made bigger.
Yeah.
Do 8-year-olds get
Oda,
horny?
why are you answering that question?
Do 8-year-olds want to see their sister's big tits? In Japan. And also,
I don't know, but he shouldn't answer that question. That's irresponsible.
Yeah, it's fucked up if all the things... If these questions are even real, to choose to publish this is insane.
Yeah, for sure.
But very funny.
And it's funny that there's 2 questions answered in SBS. The other one is like a extremely intricate discussion of like a particular Japanese cultural comedic act that was really just almost a throwaway reference here with Kanjuro's like the way that his style was or whatever. And so it's like this incredible dissertation of Japanese culture and like really like the deep intricacies of that design. The other one is just the perv fruit, yeah, big tits and dicks. Duality of Oda, that's right.
One other fun detail. We found out last volume Luffy's new bounty is 400 million berries. Law's fruit is worth 5 billion berries. The most valuable thing we've ever heard of in One Piece, Eggy. What's your take on this? Why is Law's bounty not 5 billion if he is the fruit?
Well, I think it's kind of the same idea behind why Nico Robin was so sought after for capture as a child. It's just sometimes things are not the sum of their parts. So it's like the Op fruit has such potential on its own, but it's not necessarily. I mean, there's a lot. God, what am I thinking of? It's like this takes me way back, and so I'm a little spotty here, but I used to play Kingdom of Loathing, which was like a browser game back in like 2004 and 2005. And there were certain items that had an extremely high value, and then if you take them and use them, you know, like it wasn't necessarily that your character that you used it on would suddenly become as valuable as that item, because there could be certain ways to make use of that item. Or the anchovies on the pizza, Futurama, you know, this is going to make us infinite oil. Oh, he's going to eat it, ha ha ha. So that particular unique piece of the pie having incredible value does not necessarily translate into the value going to the whatever it's being used towards necessarily. So it makes sense to me.
What if they put it this way? This guy, he could sacrifice his life to give somebody eternal youth. Let's up his bounty to 1 billion and torture the fuck out of him until he uses his power on us.
Well, that would be smart. Yeah, I don't know. Usually the government's pretty on top of torturing people to death for their own benefit, so I don't know. Slacking a little bit on that one, especially we know the Celestial Dragons are not too much on mincing words about torturing the lessers, so...
Which might add... to the credence to the theory that Law is secretly working with Sengoku, and that's why he would be protected.
Honestly, us just putting this together right now is probably the most believing in it that I am now, since we just mentioned that. If he's been pretty good about being true to form about our own reality and how it translates into areas and circumstances, situations in the story. I think that would be a good move on his part, so I would not at all be against that happening just for that reason.
Did either of you get emotional, maybe a little misty-eyed in that dramatic scene where Corazon, he says, I love you, Law, and then he has to maintain his life just to keep Law silent? I mean, it's pretty sad.
Yeah, it's pretty rough.
Yeah, I have a little bit of a flaw where, you know, obviously we knew prior to the flashback, Corazon didn't seem to be, you know, hiding around the corner or anything. It wasn't like Kanjuro where we had a belief maybe that he was still out there, so we could still hold on to that. Seemed like probably he was out of the picture, so I had a little bit, you know, it wasn't like a shock necessarily, but it was a very emotional series of panels there for sure. If I hadn't had the Senior Pink flashback, it probably would have been very close to my top for the sentimentality of the volume, although something about the Frankie and Senior Pink fight overall besides was still standing out to me, but very emotional for sure.
I liked the timing of it where the Marines start attacking Doflamingo right when Corazon dies, so the exact moment that Law's wails and cries of agony are audible is when the Marines' cannonballs are exploding, so they can't hear him anyway. Mm-hmm. That's some good shit.
Really well done.
And I think after that, I've covered everything of note in the volume, unless we're forgetting something major. You guys have any final thoughts?
I think I'm good.
It was a very enriching volume. For some of the fighting was a little bit, like between I forget Mr. Boom Boom Man and Bartholomew. He kind of has like it's kind of seems like it goes by quick. Like he blocks the rupture explosion, and then he hits him with like he has like his like a Luffy styled punch. He hits him with like a holy pistol punch.
Which we were playing Burning Blood literally yesterday, and we saw that attack play out because we got to play as Bartolomeo.
That's right. That's very true. Yeah, I should play some of that tonight, some single player, so I can keep going through the story on my PC version.
Yeah, do it on
anyway,
stream.
That's very true. Absolutely. So some of that kind of went by. It wasn't like super drawn out, which is fine. I felt like by the time I finished the volume here that. It was still very impactful even without drawing out. Maybe the Psy thing was a little much, but I kind of enjoyed the dynamics there, the cultural dynamics between like all the intersecting factions, and so it was enjoyable enough by the time it was said and done. I think everything in this volume really ended up playing out in a way that I enjoyed, so I liked it.
If somebody meets a baby 5 who immediately falls in love with you and is willing to commit suicide for you, should they say yes or run away, Eggy?
I would not recommend such a person. No, I wouldn't.
So you're not looking. You don't think that Psy and Baby 5 are gonna have a bright future?
Especially if you might have a job making like 5-hour-long Chris Chan documentaries on your 1 million subscriber YouTube channel, I would say that's the kind of woman maybe to stay away from for your own benefit.
Yeah, if you're famous online, just stop dating. You have to become asexual. You can't trust these hoes.
Yeah.
That's it for this volume, I believe. Eggy, are you going to reread 78 for next week, or do you think you can remember everything that happened?
Well, I kind of have a devil fruit power of my own, and maybe sometimes it's activating without me activating it intentionally. Sometimes I just completely flush my entire mind of all thoughts, and I sit around drooling on myself, and that might have played into some of my mistakes made in the last 24 to 48 hours. But with that being said, I think I'll be able to fully enjoy the next volume with, there's only one possible thing I might have heard, but I think overall, I'm going to recuperate just like Luffy did after he got attacked at the Paramount War. But it won't even take 2 years, it won't even take 2 weeks.
I like that Eggy casually drops that he can reach meditative nirvana. It just clears his mind of all thoughts.
Well, you want to know how it comes about is this came up actually on the stream the other day because one of my long-standing moderators who doesn't come around too much anymore, when I started streaming back in 2017, he would repeatedly send in videos of like sexually transmitted infection review and like all these things that were really disgusting and I wasn't going to show on screen. But basically, I'd be every single stream I would be traumatized by the most heinous and graphic imagery that the world could provide because people would laugh at my absolute terror when I would open it up and look at it, even if they couldn't see it. So I kind of got in the habit of just like flushing my brain every day to release all these horrible traumatic things that I was being exposed to and be able to keep on chugging. And maybe I gave myself brain damage, but there's other things I did also to that end, so I can't really blame the videos for that. In any case, it allowed me to at times just flush my entire mental capacity and start fresh when I felt like I might be a little too high on the cortisol spiking, is what the Zoomers say nowadays.
Personally, I don't want to forget any shock or gore video I've ever seen because I need to restate them word for word on a podcast one day to discuss the audience with the wonderful things I've seen. So, Erich, can you pull up the Encyclopedia Dramatica offended page and we can just watch you scroll through it?
Yeah, sure. Let's see here.
That wasn't a genuine request, but if he's going to do it, we might as well. Have you been to it before?
Mm-mm.
Oh God. Maybe you might want to pull your glasses off for this one. Maybe I don't know if you do
Some
things might show that.
So it doesn't reflect on. It's like pictures of kittens
no
and stuff.
Up?
Oh, they took it down. Is ED even up?
Oh wait, ED. Okay, wait.
The page just called offended, I believe. It has like pictures of like kittens.
It says
and
offended.
Puppies and yeah.
We will be happy to rectify your situation. The page is like blank.
Oh. Eggy, can you?
And then
I've got it here now.
Yeah, post the link in the chat for Erich.
Can you send it to me?
in the Discord
Yeah,
chat. We're doing shock website reactions on our One Piece podcast now. Look at that cute little. He's wearing a lime.
Yeah, look at that
as
kid
a
wearing
helmet.
a lime helmet.
That's a cute
That's
kid.
fun.
Yeah, Erich, just
It didn't
explain
load on my
everything you
phone.
see. Your phone was trying to protect
I'm
you.
trying to.
Yeah, be careful about what's shown in that reflection. That's all.
No, I can't see nothing in his glasses. It's fine. It's not like
Yeah,
Dan
I've got
or
like 10 pages open. Hold on.
Nathan Fielder would take
It'll be
pictures
like a
where you could
general
see.
red color. I'm sure it's fine.
Aww.
Erich is delighted
so
by
we've
what
got-
he sees.
We will be happy.
It's a bad time for his camera
A
to be
little
freezing
tiny
up.
bunny. It's so long. The page. Okay, a little chick with eggs, which is a little bit fucked up because I assume the eggs are.
Yeah,
Okay, we got
don't
a
think
cat
about the
making
future
a
of
little
the eggs.
smile. Yeah.
Okay.
Hold on. What the fuck?
Yeah.
Wait a
I'm not
second.
clicked into the one picture.
Let's get to
This way
scrolling
there.
down the page.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm still scrolling. I'm
He's
trying.
enjoying each beautiful animal.
Let's see here. We've got a collage of different puppies or kitties,
Oh, good.
and then a deer with a little rabbit. Oh no! Oh no! Somebody's face exploded off. Somebody appearing to
Oh.
have diarrhea.
Onto
a
their
bunch
own
of
face?
Orange shit or something. The classic.
Is that the one when the diarrhea is like arcing up out of their
that looks
ass
like
onto their face?
Some kind of awful STD, if I had to guess.
Okay.
Coming tit nipples on a centaur with a bunch of tits. I don't know what the fuck is going on with some of these things. Some of this is repeated.
Mhm.
One of this is definitely a. It's hard to tell what some of this shit is. I hope
Holy
you like
fuck.
this picture as much as I do. Here's a pig being or is that a dog being beheaded? I think it's a dog being beheaded.
I
And
just
the body's
scrolled
still
down to
going.
the woman
Oh,
with
it's a
the
pig. That's a
cockroaches.
pig.
What do you say in Eggy?
Okay, that is definitely a head that's been blown up. This is horrifying, but it's also like shit that I've seen in like
Your dreams?
what's it called? No, like Eraserhead. Some of these just look like
Eraserhead?
the Eraserhead baby. Yeah,
He put gore in that?
it's not gore, but like the baby is disgusting in that. There's a guy sticking a dick.
Yeah, we've seen an Agent Orange
There's
baby
a fat
before.
guy. Is that Chris Farley?
Dead?
Yeah, but maybe not.
Yeah, I'll
He's
say I haven't
just a frat
scrolled
guy.
this in a long time, and there's a couple that still get me for sure. Yeah,
Like what?
like I just stopped.
Oh
What
god,
the
the asshole
It looked like a
and
Japanese
the glass
erotic
breaks.
film.
I think.
A Japanese erotic film with women with
somebody's
cockroaches
head.
crawling out. of
Erich,
the
let
Oh,
Eggy talk for 1
God.
second, please. I can't hear him.
I said there's a photograph that appears to be from a Japanese erotic film where a woman has live cockroaches crawling out of her holes
Mhm.
on that erotic film, and I don't. That one was didn't remember that one.
Yeah, it
so
might
that
be a
one
new
was like
one.
a goddamn.
They're updating it.
These are some new night. I'm not even a quarter of the way down the page. I think I'm done.
So
I think I
you
shared
did
enough.
get
There's a
offended then.
penis that's been.
You lost.
I'm not offended. I just don't
No.
particularly care to look at this.
No, you're offended. You lost.
Okay. Yeah.
Erich
About
lost
a
the
quarter of the way
game.
down the page. I saw a penis that had been tied up with like wire or something, and I was just like, all right, I don't need to see this.
Come on, folks, they're losing the game.
I
I think
pretty horrifying imagery in there.
yeah, this episode should have ended at least 10 minutes ago. So you guys want to plug anything? Any new music, Eggy?
I got something that I came up with something on a stream the other day. I got to record it though. It's just a rap song, but I was liking it. It's current event related. You know, you might have heard about this popular creator called Clavicular. And I think on a couple weeks ago when we did Trash Rats, we talked about him running over a guy with his car.
Yeah, hero.
He's been popular for other reasons since then, but you know, I think that that's deserving of a song. So I think it would be funny. I'm not saying that all my music should be related to cars and running people over, but I'm just saying it was a funny incident and the guy's alive, I think. So, yeah, I got a song coming. It's not exactly all about it, but it'll reference it though.
I would like to plug that I stole the Perona toy from my girlfriend's office, so now it's on my shelf again.
Oh.
So now we have Perona and Barto, my husbando and my waifu.
That's right.
Nice.
What about you, Erich? Anything to plug?
You can find my Letterboxd Reverend1138 on there, where I saw the Bone Temple, the 28 years later sequel, which was pretty good. I did not like it as nearly as much as the first one, though.
Eggy, you just saw No Other Choice. Was that worth the drive?
I thought I did enjoy it. I thought it was funny because one of the reviews or whatever that it had on the poster was like, "Oh, this is incredibly biting satire." I thought it seemed extremely true to real life. I don't want to spoil anything too much, but it's a man who he literally just needs a job, and what he has to do to get it. It's not like he's trying to be like the greatest of all time. He literally just needs a job to pay his bills, and it goes real crazy. I thought it was like a real good documentary, to be honest. But was it worth it? Yes. I mean, it certainly is a good film. I don't know. I liked. They kind of both. There's shades. I also just saw the Dead Man's Wire film. And I said about that. Really good, but it's based on real events, so it's not too cartoonish. And I feel like No Other Choice is a little more cartoonish, but at the same time, it still feels very grounded in a way. So neither of them are so like incredibly crazy or off, like totally going off the rails, but both films I would recommend for sure. Maybe at least solid. I think I gave Dead Man's Wire like a 7 or an 8, and I would say No Other Choices in that ballpark for sure.
But if you want to watch a film that is less cartoony and speaks more to the human condition, I would recommend the Tigger movie. Better than No Other Choice?
Probably. It's less pretentious, right? But, I would rather just go out there and enjoy myself, with Tigger, than have to worry about all the trials and tribulations of a salary man. There is a great scene though after like there's a bunch of unemployed Korean guys together, and it's like in their culture, I guess it's like the same as it's like a death sentence. Like you failed as a man, it's over. So they're all like extremely emotionally like in a horrible state, and they're just like in this group. There's like a nice office lady in the middle, like, your life is still worth living. And like, my life is still worth living. My life is still worth living. I can do it. I will get a job. I will get a job. And they're like smacking themselves in the face over and over again.
I'm in so much pain. I'm in so much pain.
I'm in so much pain.
It's like, it's not even satire.
Help me.
It's every day of my life. I don't know what you're talking about satire.
Tremendous pain.
I'm the opposite. I'm fighting as hard as I can to not get a job. I cannot relate to this film. Sounds like garbage to me.
You wouldn't kill other people to get a job? Damn.
I'd kill people to not get a job. See you next week for more One Piece Dressrosa. One Piece, people.